Beautiful divine masculine and feminine darlings. I don't plan to be here for too long. I don't actually know how long this will take. I do have a number of channels and I have a reading. I may I may split this reading up into a few separate sections just because I've been pretty busy today, well, really the last couple of days, getting some other things done. But the channels haven't stopped, so I've just been jotting them down as necessary. However, that means now there's a lot to go through, so we'll get there. When we get there, I may split it into two. In the meantime, let's see where we go with this. Cheers. So, I mentioned a week or so ago something about Mercury retrogrades, and it's because I've been picking up this mercurial energy. I just assumed that there may be a retrograde shifting through, and I said I would check the calendar. I'm also making tea right now. That's what that noise is. But again, I've been busy, so I've just been flowing with the energy, and I tune into it as I go, so I don't really need to read the charts, but when I do, it makes sense. Example, I did pick up this Mercury energy, assuming there must be a retrograde either about to shift in or shifting out. Maybe it's a shadow period, but either way, there's a Mercury energy big time that I'm picking up on. It's pretty powerful and it's intense. And we're actually not quite ready for a Mercury retrograde yet. I believe it's in March or April that's actually shifting through. Boss babe. But what we are currently actually in is a period where Aquarius is in Mercury. The transit of Aquarius has been passing through Mercury. So that's one. I'll get into that in a minute because I also picked up some astrology on that. But then I've also been picking up an increase in attacks and like spell work and what have you, which was anticipated. I did pick up that these foolish hood rats were going to try their different tactics again, or to cycle them back around, and they have. But I just got an intuitive call while cleaning a little while ago to pause and check the moon calendar for 22, and we just had a new moon also in Aquarius on the 29th. Okay. So we'll get into what that entails energetically momentarily. I did pick that up as well. But this moon, this Aquarius moon, was something that these criminals and these karmics thought that they would use to do spell work, to attack people, and change things to go in their favor. New moons are typically about manifesting new. Full moons are typically about releasing, to make space for the new, releasing old things that don't serve you, suit you, relationships, connections, jobs, thought processes, dynamics, etc. Look at how pretty that steam is spiraling. Anyway. So this new moon energy, they thought that they were going to use it to push things in their favor or upset the new beginnings for the light workers that we've all been seeking and working diligently to create. Let me put a cover on that. That works. Unfortunately for them, they failed to acknowledge and realize what Aquarius is about. Dre was an Aquarius. He died in 2016. Aquarius is all about, on the upside, humanitarianism and positive change and evolution and intellectual expansion and growth, creative problem solving, right? These people have been the opposite of that. They've been trying to create problems and they've not been humanitarian. They've been in opposition of them. They've been trying to block people from moving forward and growing. They've been trying to block people from gaining positive justice and making sure situations are balanced in life, in the legal system. That's an air sign energy. So they just tried to use moon magic that's already in alignment with light workers against light workers, and they're wondering why the universe is backfiring on them big time now. Worse. I'm not confused. Then there's the fact that Mercury has been in the Aquarius placement. Aquarius has been moving through Mercury, rather. Again, Mercury is about communication, big air sign energy. It's about, on levels, transformation. Mercury, when the retrogrades come up, it's old cycles and situations, even people from the past lives in some cases, but just people from the past coming up. Not necessarily because they're supposed to be in your life or they're supposed to stay in your life. In some cases, it's just the opportunity for you to close that cycle back out. Here's where the cover photo ties in. It's like bringing an old cycle or a situation that you didn't finish closing or you didn't finish cleaning up back around again so that you can finish it once and for all and release it. But these people just tried to use that energy to do the opposite. So they're fighting against universal energy in order to try to oppose light workers, and it's not working for them. In fact, they're catching more hell for it. Spiritually speaking, but also as above, so below. So certainly otherwise. And if they don't quite see it or feel it yet, they're about to. But some of them already have, and whether you know it or not, and whether they want you to know it or not, they're catching it. A lot of these people, they don't want you to know that they're going through difficult times. Some people do because they want sympathy. But others, they don't want you to know that they're going through difficult times because they know it's karma, and they don't want you to know that they're catching their karma, so they try to keep it secret. All right. There's that. Mercury, when the retrogrades come up, it's past situations, people, lessons come up to see if you've mastered them once and for all, to see if you've really outgrown those situations, people, and places, or you just are fronting and claiming to the universe that you have, praying for change, praying for growth, praying for a new beginning. But the universe says, okay, but are you willing to tolerate those things from the past? We'll see how much you mean it. Show me your new vibration and hold it when you're tested, because this is the test, and I will show you miracles. But the problem is that some people don't hold it, and these karmics, well, they don't get to that point of passing the test because they're creating problems. So these cycles come back up to give you the opportunity to close them once and for all, and or to test you to see if you've really moved on and you're really ready for that ascension you've been claiming you want and you've been praying for or asking for or what have you, trying to move towards. Now, does any of that sound like what these karmics have been doing? Rhetorical question. The answer is no. They've been doing quite the opposite. It's why things are not working in their favor and they're catching karma. More karma. Now, and will continue to do so. 1111. And you know what's quite funny? One of the people who's been copying me and plagiarizing from me, a karmic, who falls into that category of karmics not following universal alignment, they claim to be an astrologer. I just picked all that up off the cuff. This person claims to read natal charts, but they weren't qualified enough to understand or comprehend that. This is also a person who claims to be a past life regressionist, but they're not. They're not. Because if they were, they would remember, like I do. I remember in a previous incarnation where this particular person tried to target me. I remember who I was. I can give you the names and the dates. And they were so irrelevant and minuscule. Their names fell into obscurity, but mine didn't. Never does. In every lifetime. 1212. However, this particular person tried to target me and steal from me and plagiarize and copy in another life, just like they did in this one, and compete. And they tried to get a bunch of people to gang up on me in that life, just like they did in this one. Very occult, very cult-like behavior. 1234. And if they were a past life regressionist in this one, like they claimed to be, also an angel communicator like they claimed to be, then they wouldn't be tapping into these things. They wouldn't be targeting people this way. And they would have the regression abilities to remember that they chose to target me exactly like this in a previous life. And they would have remembered from this past life regression that it didn't work out well for them in that other life. And they would have thought twice about making that same poor choice in this one, but she's not a past life regressionist. She's not in tune with the Akashic records. She's a fraud and a scammer and a fake psychic. This is somebody who even advertises that they can give people magical healing facelifts and fat loss, except for she doesn't want people to know that she's getting Botox and like lip fillers and cheek fillers to fix her sagging skin, and machines to freeze the fat, try to kill her fat cells because she wants to be skinnier. So it's like less invasive liposuction. So she's getting cosmetic procedures and then telling people that if they pay her exorbitant amounts of money that she can magically give them a facelift to fix their wrinkles and make them skinny. Stop copying real prophetesses, you psychotic, ugly, old, haggard wench. So now that that's been appropriately addressed and established, other than this last piece, 1422, moving on. As far as the cover photo goes, this is something that my OGs know and have heard me educate about for many years. And I say it's all about perspective. There are people who see the glass half full. There are people who see the glass half empty, and if the glass is halfway, whether it's half full or half empty, it's still at half. So that's not the point. If if it's half either way, it's about, are you a positive thinker or a negative thinker? The negative thinker thinks, oh, it's only half full. I only have half a cup of liquid. And the positive thinker, or excuse me, the negative thinker thinks it's half empty. I only have half a cup, or half of it's gone. But the positive thinker perceives the cup as half full, and they're just grateful to even have half of a cup. I'm grateful to have the cup because whether there's fluid in it or not, at least I have a cup. And then two things. When I come across a clean source of drinking water, I have a cup to fill up and drink from. Problem solved. That's one. Two, I like to hang out at the beach. So, like a Little Mermaid beachgoer, sometimes when I find sea glass and stuff, I'll put it in my pocket. But I don't really like to put it in my pocket because it's wet and stinky and sandy and smells like seaweed. And then by the time you get home, your pants are sandy and smell like an old wet dog covered in seaweed from the beach. 1622. But if you have a cup, you see, you don't have that problem. Because whether it's full or empty, you've got a cup. And even if it's empty, you can still use it to put your sea glass in until you get home, wash it out, and then finally drink from a clean tap there. Problem solved. I'm grateful to have the glass. It's something I've said for years, and that particular person who stalks me regularly has for years and has tried to destroy my business and my life and also target my child with local criminals. They were recently, as of a few weeks ago, copying my words and my content again, and this was one of the themes in the topics. Now, I accidentally found this. I was searching something in relation to myself, but because this person has been plagiarizing me so directly, their content popped up because it was identical to my words. And that's exactly how a professor in any kind of college will check for their students' plagiarism or plagiarism in their students' writing. Right? If they notice something, or in some cases they have programs where they will just plug the whole write-up into this program, and the program is set to search for any inconsistencies and any plagiarism. Like, let's say the student turns in an essay, the teacher will put the essay into the program, and the program will go through and it will look for any sentences, paragraphs, or chunks of writing that are copied, that are identical to someone else's text, showing that it's not their own writing, it's plagiarizing, and they're cheating, okay? And so that's how a teacher intentionally checks for plagiarism on their students' work. I accidentally discovered it. Now, to be fair, I did pray for exposure for anything that needed to be exposed, including things like this. Justice and judgment for all, divinely. 1822. But as a result of being called to go take care of myself and search some things that were in relation to a project that I was working on for me, and this person was copying my words, instead of my content being pulled up with my words, because they're copying my words, my content pulled up, but so did theirs, showing me that they're plagiarizing me as of just a few weeks ago. Again. Okay, so this has been ongoing, and it's not just words. This person has also stolen my custom drawn art designs too. Oh, and speaking of the teacher plagiarism, whoops, accidentally stumbled across that, except it was divinely guided. She's been stealing my artwork to then claim that she's a teacher because she wants people to come pay her to teach them how to paint copies of my stolen artwork, which is wildly illegal, and I will be suing for a plethora of damages, including financial. But as you can see, although she's plagiarized the cup half full, cup half empty, I'm just grateful to have a cup bit a few weeks ago. As the cover photo states, I was posting about that as, I mean, I said it a few weeks ago again. I said it on a live feed out loud, and she went and made a post about it to copy it, but I already wrote about it years ago. And one of the first ones when I searched my own stuff that popped up was from 2019. It's not the first time I've stated that or made that articulation, but I knew that I had made posts about this before, so I just went to quickly grab one, and the one that was at the top that I grabbed was from 2019. But you see, she copied me just last month, so 2022 again. Somebody says, is this the one who quit their day job at the domestic violence center to bully you? Quit their day job at the domestic violence center to copy your work full time while trying to call you crazy for being a medium, even though they're plagiarizing all your work? Yeah, that one. Not very smart. Old enough to be my mother, too thick-skulled to care. Anyway. I felt that, by the way. They were lurking around in my energy field. So there's the astrology bit. Is there anything you want us to know, God? Seven of Swords. What situation in your life do you need to protect and cherish? So this is why the truth had to come out. It's important to speak that truth because these people have been creating detrimental situations, damaging situations, including to children, right? These people coming after me, they're mad at me for not tolerating their toxicity, but I've got a house rule that if I wouldn't trust you around my daughter, then you don't need to be around me. And so these are not people who are fit to be around my child. And so I stepped away, and they got mad at me for it, and then decided to target my child because they knew that that was the way to hurt me. And they thought that that was the way to get access. Two of Cups, King of Pentacles. Yep. And you want to talk about some astrology. So there was a karmic couple who ganged up. It was a earth sign. King of Pentacles. Okay. A Taurus, actually. And this is a sexual predatory rapist, pervert, a child abuser as well. And they ganged up with this thief, with this person who's been stealing artwork and all kinds of other stuff, everything. They all ganged up to bully. And they also ganged up to create false litigations. It's called frivolous litigation, and also just slanderous statements and storylines, because they thought that that was the best way to, I hear, if I can't have you, then nobody else can. Yeah, well, that's what narcissists do. They thought that if you wouldn't deal with them, or me, if I wouldn't deal with them, if you wouldn't deal with them, just if the light workers, the empaths in the situation wouldn't deal with them, then they were going to try to either force us to deal with them in some way, or they were going to try to slander us so badly or make themselves look like the victim in the situation that they are the villains in. Self-made villains at that. Because they wanted people to look at them as somebody to give love and empathy, and they wanted light workers to be looked at as if they should be demonized. Why? Because if you wouldn't let them in your life, then they didn't want you to have anybody in your life. You see, they try to turn everybody against you. But the thing about that is, and the thing that I find pretty ironic, is that those are the same people that they're jealous of. If those people would not gang up against you with that person trying to slander them into hating you, and they chose to ally with you instead, not only would they reap positive blessings and benefits for being in a higher elevated frequency, making better choices, but the same person who's trying to recruit them to gang up would be jealous of them. So they're trying to sabotage other people's possible positive opportunities and encourage them to make bad choices in doing so themselves, because they don't want us to have anybody around, but they don't want other people to be around us either. For a few reasons. Because they're jealous, they can't get into our VIP club, and also they know that if people see the light workers for who they are, then people will look at them funny. People will look at these karmics funny. People will not associate with them or ally with them. So they either try to slander people, which is a problem either way. It's slander. People shouldn't be hating on people based on slander. Or, but that's besides the point. Or they go towards people just as toxic as they are, who really don't even care if it's the truth or not. Judgment. They just want somebody to bully and gang up against. And that's why they're catching karma. Okay? Seven of Swords in reverse. Yeah, you see? What situation do you need to protect and cherish? Because they're being caught up. They can't save themselves because their karma's coming back. They tried to put people, humanitarianism in reverse, in bad situations. They tried to target whistleblowers and truth speakers and altruists. They tried to do unethical things and then claim that they had ethics in order to salvage their reputation while trying to hide those unethical things. All right. And so as far as that Taurus, earth sign energy goes, in my particular case, it'll be different for different people. In some cases, this is just somebody that has greedy or has committed financial crimes, or both. I hear promiscuous as well. Interesting. The art thief and copycat plagiarizer is either a Gemini or Taurus or somewhere on the cusp, right? And so either way, either like the rapist that she chose to ally with illegally, unethically, or thought she could compete with me as a Gemini. 28, 22. And I noticed that. Okay, Seven of Swords is about... I'm getting a couple of downloads, hold on. I'm seeing the Five of Swords too. So I'm trying to sneak away from situations. Or more specifically, Five of Swords. See, what they're trying to do is Seven of Swords is they're trying to sneak away from the damage that they've caused and the trouble that they are now in, okay? As a result of picking a battle, because that's where that Five of Swords comes in. Five of Swords is usually two people walking away with they've lost their swords, right? They tried to pick a fight. They tried to raise their swords at somebody. But the person who they picked a fight with won the battle and also took those weapons away from them. So that one of them walks away crying and the other walks away with their head sulking down, but they lose either way. Page of Cups. It was very immature of them, like just emotionally immature, and they were insensitive. Yeah, there's nothing to celebrate here. I celebrated too soon. So you have the Five of Swords, and there are three people on this card, generally speaking. There's the one person who was targeted, and then there are two people that tried to gang up on the one person. The one person takes the swords away from the two people who tried to gang up on them, and they walk away, walking away from the drama. And then one of the bullies walks away crying, the other bully walks away sulking with their face in their hands, just feeling quite defeated. And so the deceit, the Seven of Swords, that can also sometimes be seen as somebody sneaking away from like circus tents. So in one hand, you've got karmics who tried to be sneaky and manipulative about what they were doing, how they tried to cover up what they were doing. Let's turn another light on. And tried not to get caught. But in this case, it's the light workers walking away from the chaos, the circus tents, the drama that these karmics tried to create. Not my circus, not my monkeys. What are you ready to celebrate and enjoy in your life? And this was in reverse. They don't have anything to celebrate because all they did was try to destroy other people's opportunities to celebrate, or, if not celebrate in general as a reached goal, successful outcome, then trying to block people's reasons to be moving forward in celebration, right? Trying to block them from finishing a goal to celebrate for. The Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, see? What did I say? And then the Five of Wands. It's also a fighting energy. Five of Swords, Five of Wands, but they lost, though. Five of Swords, I saw it. The Sun. And they don't have any divine support. Look. It's because they came after a real empathetic high priestess, and or the other person in that karmic couple. Oh, look. What is that, a Cancerian? Yeah, there it is. Yep, the other person in that karmic couple I mentioned, a Taurus, but the other one was a Cancer. So there's that. And they ganged up with either another Taurus or an Earth sign, or a Gemini, or somebody right on the cusp of that. Yep. What changes are entering your life and how are they part of your destiny? And so they tried to block fate and destiny for people, force fate and destiny in their favor. That's not how that works. Wasn't very smart of them. I told you. What needs to be addressed in this conflict that's arisen? Here's another thing, is all this Aquarius energy, these karmic people were so busy trying to target other people and destroy other people's blessings, karma comes back, that they've got nothing going for them. But again, fighting with this universal energy that supports those who self-reflect, who seek to evolve and change, who seek to support those who are in alignment with this positive shift, right? With altruism, with positive growth and change and truth. Everything that's in the opposition of what these karmics are and have been. So they're trying to use universal energies that are not in alignment with them and that are opposing them they're fighting against the universe and then wondering why it's fighting back. They think they're fighting with us, or they thought that they did. No, right? This Aquarian energy, it's all about self-reflection and growth. Yes, external change, humanitarianism, like positive change on the outside world, but the baby, that starts inside. And they were too busy trying to sabotage other people's blessings and destiny and self-growth and change inside themselves, as well as the positive effect, ripple effect that they were having on the outside world, to have anything for themselves. This Aquarius energy is about change and positive movement forward. These karmics were trying to block positive movement forward, to keep things stuck and stagnant in the same old toxicity. That's a no. That's a no. And you thought you were going to play with the moon? Against real high priestesses? Now, why weren't you checking the charts and this and that, baby? Because I was sleeping and minding my business. Getting things done. See, Queen of Pentacles. What situation in your life do you hold value to? What aspect of your life needs rest and healing? See, they should have minded their business. The devil. I'm not gonna let the devil in. Hear that throat chakra attack? They don't like that truth. You know why? Because I'm sipping the tea, spilling the tea. Cheers. And I'm not gonna let the devil in, no, never. I'm not gonna let the devil win, no, never. If you're feeling worried, that's the devil at work. Swear to God, I'ma put him in the dirt. Yeah, see there. Messages of truth and love coming through. And important messages or fast movement may be coming in. So big sweeping positive changes. It's giving Aquarius. What situation in your life are you ready to invest your time, energy, and money into? So something about shifting gears, either new growth and expansion in a project you've been working on, or being able to start a new project or finally move in a new direction on some level. Maybe even moving. And for me, I'm picking up, I'll just give you some prophecy here. My daughter coming home, financial issues where karmics were trying to block people's income and also steal what was there, that being removed. And I mean, really, it's just those two things not being issues anymore means removing a big impedance on the quality of life. And that's a financial and legal damage called reduction of quality of life, when somebody causes problems to this point where it causes a daily issue or suffering on levels, problems, kidnap somebody's child. Every day that's happening, that's a ongoing hostage situation and trauma. That's pain and suffering that they're trying to cause. That's a reduction in quality of life. Trying to cause financial damages so people have to juggle and balance. Yeah, that's cause for a reduction of quality of life. So anything that was out of alignment, especially, more specifically, not just, but especially where these karmic people threw or pulled things out of alignment, right? Because like victims, we weren't hurt like this before they hurt us. So that's on them. They didn't have to kidnap people and hold hostages. They didn't have to target people's money and either hurt people or, do something so damaging that it either caused somebody to not be able to work or did something so that even if people were able to work, all their finances were being drained into just trying to get away from these people or out of this damaging situation. That's certainly a reduction of quality of life. And so those two things, just in my case alone, being removed, it means massive leaps and bounds in healing, because the thing that's causing the damage is removed and the thing that's blocking the healing is removed. So 2 birds, 1 stone for both. And that's just one situation. Take what you will from that. Yours will be different from mine. Here's another channel I've been picking up. There are karmics who've been coming to watch my readings. I'm sure not just mine. Yeah, see, 10 of Wands. They're putting burdens on their own back for trying to put them on ours. These karmics, yeah, see, justice is coming forth. There's a karmic female, okay? Temperance in reverse. She's not balanced. Feeling like she's losing. So there's a fallen masculine and a karmic female. The fallen masculine fell because he ran off and tried to play games and picked a karmic female instead of being loyal to a King of Pentacles, Divine Feminine. He lost his contract by doing that too. Look, Two of Cups. There it is in reverse. Lost his contract. So a 10 of Cups in reverse. Split the deck. He lost his contract. What's your intuition telling you to do? He was told to go towards her, towards his high priestess, towards Divine Feminine, but he didn't. He played games with a karmic and he lost out. Okay? So there's that. Yeah, here, why did we do that? That's a good question, dude. Very good question. Yeah, they tried to silence the whistleblower. Compete just because they thought that they were, well, I'm an air sign too, and, well, we all have wands, and, first of all, yours are itty-bitty, immature, just like your head, the inside of it. Second of all, karmic, we might both have wands, light workers and karmics, but the light workers, the elevated light workers, we're using our wands to either grow and manifest or protect ourselves and others, which we wouldn't need to do if you weren't attacking. You're using yours not to build, but to attack. So no, we might both have wands, but yours are underdeveloped, to put it nicely. And we don't use ours for the same thing. We're not made of the same ingredients. I mean, I could give you the recipe, but it wouldn't taste the same. Quality over quantity. Next. All right. So this karmic female, I've been picking this up for a few days. There's a karmic female and a fallen masculine. He was a divine masculine. Look, the Hanged Man, he stuck himself. King of Swords, yeah, see? Very rigid. He was cold towards the divine feminine and it killed the situation. And so now he wants divine feminine back. Whether he's been able to talk to her or not is irrelevant. In some cases, these divine feminines have already blocked these masculines. 3 of Wands, there's no going back for him because he killed the connection. And she's not confused or scared or stuck. And so this karmic female has been watching readings about a divine feminine whose divine masculine fell. This divine masculine fell, he turned into a karmic male, which is otherwise known as a fallen masculine, because he chose to play around with this karmic energy. He failed that mission, that lesson, that test. He chose a Jezebel over his divine counterpart. And so he lost the contract, but divine feminine is still a divine feminine. He's a karmic now. He's no longer a divine masculine. He chose a karmic and he chose to level down with the karmic, so he's a karmic now. But the divine feminine, you see, she's still a divine feminine. So she didn't lose out on her divine feminine contract. But imagine you've got 2 police officers at a police station. And there's a good cop and a bad cop. There's a dirty cop and a sovereign cop. And the bad cop gets fired. They get caught and they get fired. But the good cop still needs a good partner. Does the good cop have to go without a partner? No. Maybe for a minute while they find a replacement, but the good cop will still get a replacement. It's like that. And God has just been recontracting a match. So Divine Feminine's moved on from all of that. She doesn't want this karmic male, otherwise known as this fallen masculine, who's now a karmic, back. She wanted nothing to do with that karmic female from the beginning. Karmic female is still obsessed with Divine Feminine, trying to copy Divine Feminine. And this fallen masculine might not even be with her or talking to her or want anything to do with her or have anything to do with her. And in fact, in this case, this may be why she's resorting to, like, not just, some of them are doing this anyway, but resorting to readings and also stalking Divine Feminine. Because whether she knows it or not, for sure, she thinks and or she speculates, at least, that he's going towards Divine Feminine, or he wants to go back towards her. In some cases, these guys may have gotten mad at these people or fed up with them and just told them, maybe even to rub salt in the wound, F you, I'm going back to Divine Feminine, which I think is wild. But either way, Divine Feminine has been fully removed from that situation. This is a situation where there was a Divine Masculine. He fell. He's no longer contracted to this Divine Feminine. She's moving on. She's moved on. She's been waiting for her. If anything, she's irritated that they won't leave her alone. Or at least she's grossed out by them. But either way, this karmic female knows that he's not interested in her, or thinks that he's interested in Divine Feminine still. And so she's been going on, and maybe even on my readings, hearing about how the Divine Feminine's coming back into contact, or into contact period, with the Divine Masculine and this and that. And so she's still trying to insert herself, or she is trying to insert herself into a reading or something that's not even about her. Because this particular reading, or these readings that I'm picking up that she's hearing that are talking about Divine Feminines coming together or back together with their Divine Masculines, it's not about her. She's a karmic female, so she's got no business reading a Divine Feminine or Masculine reading. Now you see, she was doing this before because he was a Divine Masculine at one point. Now he's fallen. So she's not going to get anything beneficial for her out of a Divine Feminine or Masculine reading, because she picked a karmic, or somebody who's now a karmic, even though they weren't before, and she's a karmic. She's still a karmic. So she's attacking, or she's mad at a Divine Feminine for reading about a Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine coming together, or for when she hears about a Divine Masculine and Feminine coming back together. But she's inserting herself as if the person that she was running around with is still a Divine Masculine. Like, she thinks that this Divine Feminine who's been recontracted to a new counterpart must be going back to that other masculine that doesn't want her anymore, because he must want the Divine Feminine. Just crazy. She thinks the fallen masculine, or she thinks the readings talking about the Divine Masculines are actually talking about the fallen masculines. And maybe they were before he fell in those cases, but they're not anymore, and they haven't been for a long time. So it's like she's trying to put herself in competition where there is no competition. And if he doesn't want her and he's not interested in her, it's not Divine Feminine's fault. She doesn't want him either. That's on her. Maybe if she was confident in herself, instead of so insecure she felt compelled to copy Divine Feminines or snatch some other blessings that weren't hers in the first place, she wouldn't feel like that. But she's not. confident in herself. That's why she does things like that. For starters. Crazy. The whole thing is crazy, and I feel it. Even just trying to break this channel down, it's one of those, it almost makes your head spin kind of an energies, and that's the energy that I'm picking up behind it. It calls for like a bit of defensive energy, because it's just very toxic and hostile, and her head is spinning. I'd say she probably needs a psych ward. It just, yeah, see, even just to articulate it it's crazy, dude. The Emperor in reverse, right. See, he was a divine masculine, but he's not anymore. He fell. So she's been, two things, trying to attack divine feminines who've moved on from that fallen masculine because she thinks that he's going back to her or wants to go back to her, or there's an opportunity for that to happen or a potential, or because he's not interested in her, or because she thinks that if there are readings about the person who's replacing this fallen masculine coming into contact with the divine feminine, that they must still be talking about this one. The readings might not necessarily be saying, yeah, this particular masculine is a new contracted masculine to replace the fallen one. They might not say that at all. It's not necessary, right? For those whose reading it actually is, that's not necessarily anything that needs to be addressed out loud. If it's for somebody, it's for somebody. But this karmic is trying to force fit things in that aren't for her anyway. She's trying to force fit herself into a reading that has nothing to do with her. Nor does it have anything to do with this fallen masculine. Yeah, divine masculine and feminine are coming back together. Oh, so he must be going back to her. It's not about him. He fell. It's not a divine masculine anymore. That reading's not about him. Hasn't been for a long time. 8 of Wands. Now, he might still be trying to come back to divine feminine, but that doesn't mean that she'll have anything to do with him because he's a fallen masculine. And there's a real emperor coming through. Yeah, see, she's put her guards up to him. Now he's stuck in his head. But you see, she doesn't want to deal with him the same way that he doesn't want to deal with this. I'm talking about this fallen masculine. Like, he put divine feminine in her head. This is the wounded warrior card. The same way that these karmics put him in his head. They played games with him the same way he tried to play games with divine feminine. Or he played games with divine feminine and then he turned around and dealt with somebody who was like him on that toxic level. So he got a taste of his own toxic medicine. Yeah. And it's like divine feminine doesn't want anything to do with any of them. And maybe he's pulled away from her, this fallen masculine. So this is why she's trying to figure out where he is. If he's going towards her, he's not interested in me, so he must want divine feminine. Let me see what the readers are saying. Let me see what, in my case, let's say that she's stalking my socials. Somebody's stalking my socials. Let me see what MGem is saying. Crazy. Divine masculine, the real divine masculine says, so basically you're saying that anytime a reading comes up where it's talking about the lovers coming into union, she inserts herself, even as a karmic female, into the reading by assuming that the cards that are outlining the stuff for divine masculine or the channels about divine masculine must be about this fallen masculine. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Because at one point, in some cases, some of these readings did pertain to this particular one. Not anymore. He's karmic. We're not reading on those. Not when it comes to those love readings. And that's what she's fixated on. I mean, not just. I'm sure she's been fixating on hearing about the karmic stuff too, but it's because I'd say she knows she's the karmic, or she thought or thinks she was divine feminine. I hear not anymore. She knows she's the karmic now. I hear, but she doesn't care. Like, yes and no. Yes, because she doesn't like the way that it's reputationally, I mean, it stings. Her energy's like barbed wire and not in a good way. 5422. But No, because she just really wants, she wants what she wants. She doesn't want to change, though. Knight of Cups in reverse. Strength in reverse. Five of Swords in reverse. Yeah, they're in trouble. Because what they tried to do was create a power struggle, a power dynamic. I hear coup d'etat. Are you prepared to give or receive a love offer? Look at that in reverse. Where do you need to find your inner strength? It's giving devil energy all day and night. Somebody says, Del Rey was an Aquarius? Yes, he was. Queen of Wands. What are you passionate about and ready to create? Yeah. Karmic says, I should have left you alone. You should have left my child alone. Yep. Should have left my collectors with their homes. Divine Masculine said, there is a lot to this. You were right. I don't blame you for wanting to split this up. I'm just starting to crack the surface, babe. There's been a lot. I've been busy. But that doesn't mean things stop. You know, I shift my focus on other things, but I'm still a medium full-time. I'm always tapped in, even when my hands are full of other stuff. 922. Zero complaints. Let's pause for a second. I'm going to light some sage and do a bit of Reiki for those who would like it. There's abundance, epiphany, I'm hearing also, and then parallel Reiki, so it's 9:22 on the clock on the East Coast. Lovely number. It's my twin flame number, in fact. There is, they don't like this truth, goodness. There's sovereignty Reiki coming through. I hear Gorgeous by ex-ambassadors. And nobody understands you, 'cause you're nothing they can handle. Every man you put your hands on, you make him feel so goddamn handsome. Let us do, let me check my board channels. I'm going to wait on those, but what I will articulate is that I had a chat with somebody, and there was a reference of people thinking that karmics or karmic parents for a time were nice people. It's like they put on that fake religious or fake nice charm, narcissistic charm. And especially if a victim is in a state of upset, they try to convince people that they're the more stable one while they're destabilizing people, or they're the calm one while they feel like they have control over the situation of the person who they're doing intentional things to upset. And so there was somebody who said about a karmic, oh, I thought that they were nice. Like, yeah, that's the mask that they wear on the outside when they don't want to be in trouble for what they've been doing behind the scenes. But did you know about A, B, and C? Because it changes the whole story and dynamic. It changes the narrative. They want you to think that they're nice people, so you don't look into the fact that they lie to judges or abuse children, for example. Or what are some examples? That they are addicts, active addicts. And that they're manipulative, right? If they just showed you all of those things, you wouldn't like them. In fact, you'd probably turn around and hold them accountable for it, right? So of course you think they're nice. But they didn't tell you about the rest of it, did they? Let me fill you in. They leave those parts out on purpose. It's called cherry picking. In a court of law, it's called exculpatory and inculpatory evidence. Exculpatory and inculpatory. The difference meaning one is that you either leave out evidence that you know makes you look guilty, or you leave out evidence that you know shows someone else's innocence. So they only tell the parts of the story that they think make them look good and don't make them look bad. They leave out all the parts that make them look bad, and they only tell the parts of a story they think, especially out of context, make the victim look bad and then elevate them in some way. Criminal 101. Well, they seem really nice. Really? Because I've just observed that you're not very good at your job. Obviously, you don't have a skill set to see a bunch of criminals in front of you when they're in front of you, and that's a red flag. Because I've got the evidence to prove that you're wrong, and it shows that you're not very observant. Checkmate. A floundering. There are two things coming through. I'm getting this like bubbly, giddy energy. Also, divine masculines coming through with love. But I hear flounder or floundering Reiki, and it's something to do with if you're floundering around. Does that have to do with the fish? I think it does. I'll have to check that. I wonder. I'm getting a download, a crossover, something about the word floundering or the term floundering around, like to flounder, has to do with the fish called flounder. Flounder is a type of fish, but if you're floundering around, it means generally you're kind of just flopping around with no direction, kind of panicked, kind of like a fish out of water, a fish on deck. I must have to do with the flounder. Are they flat? I can't remember if they're flat, but there's something about the way that they kind of flop around. And I believe that's where that reference comes from. But I'll fact check the download I'm getting on it in a little bit. However, this is the energy. If these people have tried to knock your feet out from under you, so you've just, like, imagine stepping on a bunch of oil on the floor and then falling. Or soap, right? And then trying to get back up. Or ice, you step on ice and you fall and you try to stand back up on the slippery ice, and every time you try to put your feet back out to get up on them, you fall again. That This is a clearing of that energy and also a return to sender to those who deliberately did things to put us in that energy. Because let me tell you what, before these people decided to target me and my life and my child and my money and my health as a result, those weren't issues. And I know that a lot of my light workers here resonate with that. Until these people decided to hurt us, we weren't hurt, certainly not to the degree that we are or we have been. Before they decided to cause harm or devastation, it wasn't an issue. There's a cause and effect here, meaning it can be traced back to the cause. No matter how their cover-ups attempted to be or looked on the outside. The truth contradicts that, and it can be and always will be overturned. In fact, I hear it already has been. Flipped it on its head, I hear. Turned it on its head. I wish I hadn't done that. Yeah, we all do. I wish I hadn't targeted a light worker because now I'm in trouble. Ooh, boo-hoo. We wish you hadn't come into our lives at all. We wish we'd never met you. In some cases, karmics, your parents wish you hadn't been born. You've been a headache and a nightmare to them. Oh, geez. Geez, the parents of this narcissistic, abusive person seem nice. Yeah, I bet they do, when they don't want you to know that they pay off the bank he robbed and spend money to hire attorneys for him that are in their family, which is illegal because it's a conflict of interest, or sit in front of a judge and lie under oath as long as they get what they want and get him out of trouble at the expense of innocent victims. So nice. Yeah, they don't tell you about how they try to slander a victim as crazy, so you overlook all of that stuff, or you perceive their upset over abuse and theft as just an overreaction because they're so unstable and they're crazy. No, baby, that's narcissists versus an empath. Checkmate. You know what? I heard that. I was just going to say stay seated, but I just got a vision of musical chairs and these karmics have lost their seat. Out. Checkmate. Sorry for those who, especially were wearing headphones. That was louder than I intended it to be. I apologize for the sharp tone. That was funny, though. Good vision, guys. Thank you. Teamwork makes the dream work. Love you. That was Archangel Michael, by the way. Musical chairs. You're funny. I'm being serious. I know. It's why you're funny. No, I get why Divine Masculine says that about me now. I get it now. Hilarious. I heard you really are an angel. I will not deny. This energy is much better. It's giving giddy. It's giving chef's kiss. I love this. I'll take this over that karmic energy any day. You notice how my whole demeanor shifts though when I have to go into warrior mode and call out these hood rats versus I felt that in the heart chakra. Right? Really, it's in the heart. Yeah, they're hurt. Versus this, ooh, okay, got it. This happy, bubbly, giddy, loving, almost energy between the twins, 6922. First of all, I'm hearing something about they're upset because they couldn't create that. I did mention that. It came out in the reading. They couldn't create that separation that they wanted to between the twins. Also, something about, I guess they thought that I was in a sour mood because I came here and had to be stern to call some karmic energy out. But they're realizing that they misread the situation and also me, my energy, my demeanor, that particular response was just a response to them, right? They got the energy that they deserved from me. Not everybody gets that response because not everybody's an asshole. I treat people accordingly. They didn't do a very good job. I heard that. You started it. That's what the holy team is saying to these karmics. They wanted to sit there like petulant children and be mad at people for standing up for themselves. No, God is turning back around at these karmics and saying, well, you started it. Yeah. Okay. So you want to play that game. Let me pull one from the Aristocats. Also, I hear, just keep swimming, swimming, swimming. What do? We swim, swim. Yeah. Ladies don't start fights, but we can't finish them. Thank you very much. So that's what I'm doing. Finishing the fight they picked. With a target they gravely underestimated. Whoops. Not my whoops. Hilarious. Why did I do that? Because you're dumb and selfish. Shut up. I heard, no, you don't have a choice. Volume off. 7122 toodles. That's why they tried to start with the physical attacks again lately. I noticed it. They tried the hacking, that got nipped in the bud. Then the digital harassment and the stalking and the plagiarism theft the next day after that. And then as soon as that was called out and addressed, I noticed the physical stalking. Oh, and attempted sleep deprivation tactics again. I noticed. But it's not working. You see, here's that other thing about the astrology bit. These people, the Aquarius, first of all, Aquarius moon, but also Aquarius in retrograde. Yes, it's all about the introspection rather, and humanitarianism, but you see, 7222. These people thought that they would just spin all these tactics up. Here's where the cover photo ties in. They thought that they would start these abuse tactics up again. They thought that they would stir the pot, they would instigate, they would do their cyclic rounds of antagonization and abuse again because they thought it worked before, right? They thought that they'd gotten away with it before, right? No. It's like a rubber band. Sometimes, especially when they're testing the universe, it will stretch and stretch and stretch, and they think they're getting away with it, and they're not. The universe is just... the universe knows that rubber band is going to snap back in their face when it breaks, and it's just waiting. That's karma. They think that they've gotten away with it, and they think in some cases we deserve it because they think that they've gotten away with it. No. Yeah, I heard Divine Masculine say, I want to hear her go Old Testament again. Well, babe, ask and you shall receive. 7322. Okay, 2 things. 3 things. Touch not mine anointed, do my prophets no harm, first of all. Second of all, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. I shall repay. When we're not retaliating against them the way that they think we should or we would or they would against us or they want us to, they think that we're forfeiting. No, babe. I heard this morning too, Up by Connor Price. He says, there's a line in it where he asks God like for permission basically to stand up for himself. And God says, if you give it to me, I'll hit it out of the park. Meaning, I can hurt these karmics much more than you could. And if you let me do it, you won't catch karma for it. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. He's got the whole universe and all his light worker babies in his hands. Thank you very much. Non-denominational, non-gender specific. 7422. And so they thought that they were going to spin these cycles and these tactics around to try to make us feel like the glass is half empty. No, bitch, I'm just grateful to have a glass, first of all. I'm still alive, and these people have long since been trying to kill me. According to what they've done and what they've tried, whether it be physically and or spiritually speaking, I should have been dead a long time ago, according to them, according to the things that they tried, the attacks, the spells, and all the other stuff in between. Organized gang stalking and criminal conspiracy. Violation of United States Penal Code, Section Title 18-241, 241-18. The FBI's got a whole web page about that one, for starters. 7522. But the thing about that is, cover photo, Aquarius, new moon, fresh starts, retrograde energy, or excuse me, not retrograde, but Aquarius in Mercury as well, is what this has actually done. They decided to stir the pot again, right? Bring up these tactics. But in some cases, they have brought up old situations or old issues, or they've put themselves, by trying to create drama, right front and center again. So it's fresh news, it's a fresh incident, it's a fresh issue, they're fresh meat. Bitch, my glass is full. Half or not. So what they've done while trying to cause problems again and come back around with this nonsense again is actually just give us an opportunity to clear it out of, what is that I hear? Hallelujah. Hard-pressed hallelujah. Yep. To clear it out once and for all. Or they've brought it back up to, really that's what it is, either way. They're bringing a cycle up that needed to be closed or needs to be closed, or they're allowing another layer of it to be exposed and or cleared and healed out. It's not working the way they wanted it to. In fact, it had the opposite effect. And I warned them that it would. And they decided that they were going to cut their own noses off to spite their face and try to prove me wrong. Well, how'd that work out for you? Rhetorical question. The answer is not very well at all. Stupid is as stupid did. Repeatedly. Well, now you just look dumb. 7733. I saw that coming, and I don't think it took a psychic to see it. Not this time. Cheers. Delusional. He says, even if it takes all the strength that I've got. Hard pressed, hard won, a hard fought hallelujah. My vibes speak louder than my words. Exactly. And so they said what they said, but guess what? Their behaviors and their energy behind it, it was trash. Basura. Hashtag garbage can't. Thank you, universe, for helping me see beyond the limits of fear. Thank you for expanding my perception so that I can see what is of the highest good. Exactly. When I think I've surrendered, I surrender more. So, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And then also, these karmics thought that they were slick, thought that they were doing something. No, bitch. God knew you were going to attack us long before you even had the dumb idea to do it. Old Testament. They shall fight against you, but they shall not prevail against you, for I am here to save you and deliver you, saith the Lord. Huh. Bite it. Karmics? How's that for Old Testament, boo? I honor how I want to feel. I have a couple more, but I think I might save those for another live. My outer experiences are a reflection of my internal condition. But you know what I was called to do? Actually. I always trust the direction of the universe, and I know I'm being guided. There are ancestors coming through as well. I choose to learn through love. They've been coming through. Let's do this one. Actually, can you give me, let's do a flip through right there. Left or right? Right, okay. Anyone... I told you, these karmics are in so much trouble. If people quarrel and one person hits another with a stone or with their fist and the victim does not die but is confined to bed, the one who struck the blow will not be held liable. Oh, excuse me, hold on. What did I say about damages? If the other can get up and walk around outside with a staff. However, the guilty party must pay the injured person for any loss of time and see that the victim is completely healed. So in this case, that's not what's happening. In this case, modern day, no, these people are absolutely going to jail for causing harm because the laws have changed since the Bible was written here. But they're also, like it says in Exodus, you want to talk about Old Testament here, going to have to pay financial damages. And I'm not making it up, it's right there. Let's go. You're going to listen, karmics. You don't have a choice. I'd say I suggest you run, but there's nowhere for you to run to. God is everywhere and everything, except for you. You know, I say one love, yeah, one love. But remember that not everybody is love. Some of these people are embodying demonic energy. They're on demon time. Whether it be that they are listening to the little devil on their shoulder, so to speak, or they're straight up possessed. They're not being nice. 8222. Thank you. What did I say about hitting? Anyone who beats someone with a rod or an object must be punished. One of the things, I didn't even say this part, but one of the things that, the parents of this narcissist seem nice. Yeah, but they don't want to tell you that when he started hitting children, instead of telling their abusive son to stop, they joined in with him. And not just with their hands, with objects. They started hitting children with books. Thanks. My child, in fact. I don't take very kindly to that. I just flipped another page open, Proverbs 4:14. Do not set foot on the path of the wicked or walk in the way of the evildoers. You failed, karmics. I mean, I'm just flipping random pages, but even God says you better listen to her. You know why? Because you're not listening to me. I'm just channeling. And when you're trying to fight me on the words that come out of my mouth and you're trying to oppose the truth that I'm speaking, you are not opposing me. You think you are because you hear it coming from my mouth. And so you think you're arguing me and my points, but I'm just channeling God. So you got a bigger bone to pick, bitch. Stay seated. Whatever beef you've got with God, it's not about me. You're a copy, and I'm the OG. I stayed low-key to keep my blessings on me. I'll be in the crib with my feet up, drinking holy water like I'm Jesus. Yes, I said drinking. Avoid it, this path of the wicked. Do not travel on it. Turn from it and go on your way, for they cannot rest until they do evil. Right, they're like possessed. These people, instead of praying that whatever is compelling them to be in this angry energy to attack other people and want to steal from other people is healed and released out of them, they let it fuel them. They choose to ally with the devil on that, and it only gets them in trouble. The devil sits there and laughs at them the same way that they think they're laughing at the victims they're causing while they're running in devil time. But you see, the devil's just using them. They're not actually allying. They were just weak enough to be used as Satan's bitch. 85:22. That whole perception of, I think I'm so powerful. Yeah, that's an illusion. That's why you feel so insecure that you feel compelled to keep targeting people. If you were actually powerful, you would not need to do that, nor would you even think about it. It takes more strength to be good. Let me tell you what, it's easy to slap a hoe. It would be real easy for me to backhand you, Karmic. But guess what? I don't do that. Because I'm a better person and I have the self-control you don't. It's not hard to be better than a narcissist, though. Checkmate. For they cannot rest until they do evil. They are robbed of sleep till they make someone stumble. Exactly. So they try to, what did I say? Cause sleep deprivation tactics in others. Well, bitch, I'm about to go out and play some music in a couple hours. You want to play that game? Right outside the window. Right after you go to bed. You want to play that game with me? Don't do it. They eat the bread of wickedness. You know what's so funny? You know why I have this out here? And I have this. Okay. I can't even move this other one. It's heavy. Maybe I can. Probably I shouldn't. I have a restaurant grade scale in front of me because I don't usually do this, like ever. I just eyeball things and I measure with my heart and stop when the ancestors tell me to stop. 87:22, but I'm making some bread and I want to make sure the starter is done right. I'm making a couple of starters and it's better if it's properly started, so that's what I'm doing. I have 3 recipes I've already thought out in my head. Just need to execute them. They eat the bread of wickedness, they drink the wine of violence. Yep. And we said that in the beginning. The question was, are you talking, the person who's been stealing and et cetera, is that the one who, worked with those bullies, quit their day job at the domestic violence center? Yeah. Drink the wine of violence. Oh yeah. And plagiarized my artwork, right? Stole my artwork to go take my stolen artwork to advertise a paint and sip class where she wanted to get people drunk and have them pay her to teach them how to copy my stolen artwork. Wildly illegal. She owes me so much money.
Oh, sorry, baby. Hi, baby. I didn't know you were behind me. Did you have a little sleepy? I'm sorry, Pumpkin. I got you, boo-boo. Thanks for letting me know.
Boy, that was an issue. The path of righteousness is like the morning sun. Yes, and 3 things never remain hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. Shining ever brighter until the full light of day. But the way of the wicked is like deep darkness, and they do not know what makes them stumble. Pay attention to what I say, God says. Turn your ear to my words. This would be the advice for these karmics. This is why they can't compete where they don't compare. Because this is why the light workers are at an elevated point. This is what we've been doing to stay in elevation or to keep moving forward. Turn your ear to my words and do not let them out of your sight. So meaning listen to God's word above all, the divine truth above all. Keep them within your heart, for they are life to those who find them, and health to one's whole body. Above all else, guard your heart, right? Yes, one love, babes, but not everybody's love. These karmics certainly aren't. 90-22. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. And this is, they know that. It's why they try to hurt people to lower their frequency or siphon from people. Keep your mouth free of perversity. That's all they did was gossip and slander. They didn't do that. Keep corrupt talk far from your lips. They didn't do that. Let your eyes look straight ahead. They didn't do that. They were so focused on us, they didn't see that they were falling into the holes that they were trying to dig for other people. Now they're being buried with their own bullshit. For starters. I hear the universe is helping. Turning it from the, I picked that up earlier today. Imagine, these people thought that what they did to us would kill us or destroy us, which is why they did it. Now imagine when that karma kicks back at least times 3 for them. When they start getting back what they put other people through that they thought would destroy us because they knew that they couldn't handle what they were putting us through, but then it comes back at least amped up times 3. The threefold law. Trinity. They didn't think about that one, did they? No, because I hear it because they thought we'd already be dead and they wouldn't catch karma for it, or they didn't believe in karma, so they thought it didn't matter. Yeah, well, they thought wrong. Give careful thought to the paths for your feet and be steadfast in all your ways. Do not turn to the right or the left. Keep your foot from evil. I also mentioned that Jezebel energy, right? That karmic male who was this fallen masculine who's a karmic now, but he was a divine masculine before he picked a karmic and fell. And it's like, I just happened to pick this page. I split it, but let's read. Seems like that's towards him as well. So here on one page, we've just covered 2 separate karmic channels just from this reading alone. 3, really. My son, pay attention to my wisdom. Turn your, oh wait, did that one? No. Turn your ear towards to my words of insight, that you may maintain discretion, and your lips may preserve knowledge. For the lips of the adulterous women drip honey. It's that Jezebel energy. And her speech is smoother than oil, but in the end she is bitter as gall, sharp as a double-edged sword, cutting in a bad way. Her feet go down to death, and her steps lead straight to the grave. 93-22. I don't think that needs any further explanation. She gives no thought to the way of life. Her path wanders aimlessly, but she doesn't know it. I mean, so she argues and she fights against divine feminine, right? It's like I picked up this particular karmic female energy, and she's going and she's stalking a divine feminine who doesn't want anything to do with her, and she doesn't want anything to do with the fallen masculine. This karmic female is still obsessed with the fallen masculine. He may be talking to her, he may not be. I'm picking up that he cut her off. But either way, she thinks that he's going to try to go back towards divine feminine, or she knows that he is, or she thinks that he already has. And so when the divine messages are speaking about a divine feminine and a divine masculine coming together, just with anybody's general readings, she automatically assumes that it must be about him. I'm like, that's foolish. That's like going into a general reading if you're in a relationship and assuming that that reading must be for you just because you're in a relationship. Plenty of people are in relationships, but not every relationship is the same. So that reading won't resonate with everybody, or for some, anybody. And in other cases, in this particular case even, she's going in and basically trying to place herself in the divine feminine's position of a reading when she's the Jezebel karmic female. It's not conducive. And so she's confused, and she's, what did it say, lost her footing, or she wanders, her paths wander aimlessly, but she doesn't know it, right? She thought the best thing for her to do was to try to come between a divine feminine and her divine masculine. She caused the divine masculine to fall. She did not become a divine feminine like she thought. He became a karmic, which is not what either of them expected. Okay, so that was wandering aimlessly. They both were at that point. And then she thinks that he's trying to go back towards a divine feminine. And whether he is or isn't, this divine feminine's not interested. She's wandering aimlessly. And then the message is coming about the divine masculines and feminines coming together. In some cases, those are about people who've never dealt with situations like this, or they're about other people entirely, right? They're about like divine counterpart connections where there haven't been big separations and things like that. So trying to force fit herself into a narrative that's just not about her. And then there's the particular situation where there are divine feminines who had these masculines who fell, and so they're being contracted with new divine counterparts. And so the readings are not about this fallen masculine. Now, they might be talking about divine masculine, and when he was a divine masculine, they may have been referencing him in some cases, but now he's not. Now he's a karmic like her because he fell. And so she's trying to watch readings that are about a whole nother man, and she's assuming that they're about this fallen masculine still. She's just wandering aimlessly in all ways, on all accords. Crazy. I also know that when and if these masculines left these karmics, when they started trying to sleep around with other people or date other people, they tried to find and pick people that looked just like this fallen masculine. Like, they're obsessed with not only the divine feminine and trying to be her or become her or copy her, but they're obsessed with this masculine too. Even the fallen one. Yeah, now she's getting it. This karmic female. You mean to tell me you don't want anything to do with any of us, and we've been stalking and obsessing? Yeah, you've been wasting your fucking time like a psychopath. Yeah. If you're going to tell me who I am, you better get that shit right. You talked behind my back. I warned you. You wasted all your own time. You wanted a piece of that pie. Well, alright. Here's your fucking trophy. All that glitters isn't gold. This is fool's gold, in fact. It's called pyrite. Here's your fucking gold, now get out of my face. Acting like you know me, but you don't even know me. Yeah. So he says, now then, my sons, listen to me. Do not turn aside from what I say. Keep to the path far from her. Do not go near the door of her house or let her in yours, lest you lose your honor to others. He fell. He lost his divine contract. I think what's worse is not only did he disappoint divine feminine, or he lost his divine feminine and all of that. But I think if I were him, I would be more upset with disappointing myself and God. Like, really, God above all else. But he has to sit with that for the rest of his life. He disappointed himself. Divine feminine gets to move on and have a happy life. He's stuck. He'll never have her again. Now then, my sons, listen to me. Do not turn aside from what I say. Keep to a path far from her, this Jezebel. Do not go near her door, near the door of her house, lest you lose your honor to others and your dignity to one who is cruel, lest strangers feast on your wealth. Yeah, see? He picked somebody who was cruel. That's what she was. Let strangers feast on your wealth. And instead of joining forces and building with divine feminine, he chose to try to leverage what he had, what divine blessings were given to him on basically like loan, because he was on path when they were given to him. It was both of their spiritual inheritance. He was given the first round of it, and instead of continuing on the path of darkness. Are you okay? Maybe you shouldn't get up there. Because I did ask you not to do that.
It's scary.
It's okay. You shouldn't do that.
Oh, you made a mess.
Not a big deal.
Let's not do that again, though, right? Did we learn our lesson? Maybe not. Silly goose. Leave that right be. You okay? Did that scare you a little bit?
It's okay. It's just loud. Glad you're all right. Let strangers feast on your wealth. So he was given, like, for aligning with divine feminine or realigning with her, he was given some degree of blessings, spiritual inheritance, abundance, and then he decided, instead of continuing to align with her to generate more, he would take that and try to build with a karmic. And so for aligning with his divine feminine, he was given blessings that he was supposed to help pour back into her and the relationship, but instead he took them and tried to gloat over her head, claim that he like had more than her, even though in a lot of cases he was getting blessings for connecting with her high energy, right? It was like she was his good luck charm, and he mistreated her. Instead of continuing to earn and build that luck by pouring back into his good luck charm, he tried to take that first round of good luck and then ran around with karmics, tried to make divine feminine's life harder, even though he only had those blessings because of her, tried to hold them over her head even though they were also partially hers. spiritually speaking on this note. And that is why he's lost them, why he could not continue to build them, or why God took them back, or why I hear shit hit the fan. Let strangers feast on your wealth, and your toil enrich the house of another. At the end of your life, you will groan when your flesh and body are spent. You will say, how I hated discipline, how my heart spurned correction. I would not obey my teachers. At this point, Divine Feminine was a teacher for him, and he chose to be spiteful towards her for it, and he lost out. I would not obey my teachers or turn my ear to instructors. And as I was soon in serious trouble in the assembly of God's people. Yeah, see, look. Drink from your own cistern, running water from your own well. Should your springs overflow in the street, your streams of water in the public squares, let them be yours alone, never to be shared with strangers. So he tried to play around with all these low vibrational energies instead of elevating up. And as a result, the next thing says, may your fountain be blessed, and may you rejoice in the wife of your youth, a loving doe, a graceful deer. May her breasts satisfy you always. May you ever be intoxicated with her love. Why, my son, be intoxicated with another man's wife? Why embrace the bosom of a wayward? Carry on, my wayward son, don't you cry no more. That particular song was referencing this a couple of years back, of karmic and now fallen masculine in this energy, like before he fell. So, yep. Why embrace the bosom of a wayward woman, like this Jezebel energy? For your ways are in full view of the Lord, and he examines all your paths. So nothing that any of these karmics thought that they got away with, did they get away with? The evil deeds of the wicked ensnare them, and the cords of their sins hold them fast. For the lack of discipline, they will die, led astray by their own great folly. And so what this karmic male has done, this now karmic male, fallen masculine, is he could have had an easy, elevated path with Divine Feminine, comparatively speaking, but he tried to play games, and he lost his spiritual contract with her, his divine contract, and so his spiritual blessings as a result. And now, I mean, he wanted to show off with those resources and try to play house with a karmic, and so he fed into situations and people he shouldn't have. And so these are situations that you spend all this time trying to put on a persona and a front, trying to make it seem like you're wealthy, trying to make a karmic happy, trying to live this lifestyle, but it ends up backfiring, right? He went towards this karmic and he lost his honor and his dignity to somebody who's cruel, right? He picked this cruel karmic. He let strangers feast on your wealth, so he let these other karmic people and harvest off of him while he was harvesting off of Divine Feminine. And they were draining him the way he was draining her. Let strangers feast on your wealth. And so he did not connect and elevate up with his divine soul family. He vibrated down. Let strangers feast on your wealth, and your toil enrich the house of another. So it's saying he'll work very hard. He worked very hard to get pretty much nowhere fast. Led into a toxic lifestyle. didn't get what he wanted. He did, but it's not what he thought he wanted, so really he didn't. Because the wife of your youth, a loving doe, a graceful deer, may her breasts satisfy you, and may you ever be intoxicated with her love. That's divine feminine. But he lost out on her. At the end of your life, you will groan when your flesh and body are spent. Meaning it's like he'll burn himself out, or he burned himself out, or in order to try to survive through life, because he does not have this divine favor anymore, he's going to have to work very hard, and I hear knuckles, bleeding knuckles to the bone, blood, sweat, and tears, and it's going to not really have much of a payoff. And if it has any, it's not like it could have been. It certainly is not with the ease that it could have been, because now he's got this karma to clear. Instead of choosing to elevate up with divine feminine, he created all kinds of karma for himself. And that's difficult life. You will say, how I hated discipline, how my heart spurned correction. And so he didn't want, I will not obey my teachers. He didn't want to listen to the divine. He didn't want to listen to divine feminine trying to help him understand the divine guidance and message. He didn't listen to his own intuition. He got in his ego and got cocky, spiteful. And the discipline in regards to being honest, being loyal, staying committed, showing up, etc. He wanted to play around and play games, and it was all fun and games till it wasn't. And he realized that he lost because the rabbit had the gun. Pretty much. Let's do one more. That's funny. This is why people are having to sit down when I speak. Hi, baby. It's talking about a prophet, basically. Sounds like. Now Stephen, a man full of God's grace and power, performed great wonders and signs among the people. Opposition arose, however, from the members of the synagogue of the freedmen, as it was called, Jews of Cyrene and Alexandria, Alex, as well as the province of Cilicia and Asia, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, who began to argue with Stephen, but they could not stand up against the wisdom the Spirit gave him as he spoke. Yeah, see? I mentioned this earlier, and they go in behind the scenes and they target people and they gossip and they hope people don't hear about it, and then they wonder why they're catching karma. God said, you're not supposed to do that. God doesn't like those gossiping liars and abusers. Then they secretly persuaded some men to say, we have heard Stephen speak blasphemous words against Moses and against God. So they lied. They didn't like the truth he was speaking, so they lied to slander him and try to call him, crazy or blasphemous or a heretic. It's just narcissism 101. This is just old school biblical narcissism. The way that you have seen these people targeting light workers in the collective, including myself, yeah, this is not new. Except now we've got psychology to outline their stupidity. Acts 16:14. So they stirred up the people and the elders and the teachers of the law, right? They tried to have the light workers falsely arrested, tried to have me falsely arrested. In fact, they did twice for whistleblowing about pedophilia, because they tried to say that I was lying, but I'm not. And I can prove that, which is why all charges were dropped and dismissed, and all people who caused those problems are going to have to pay for it, which we already talked about. That came up too. It's in the Bible. They seized Stephen and brought him before the Sanhedrin. They produced false witnesses who testified. And they did that too, which is why I have almost a decade worth of court transcripts in the cabinet, because now I can take each one of those court transcripts and pause it in the section that they lied every time they lied, and then clip the pieces of evidence that show that they lied right to it. Exhibit A, B, C, D for you're done. F for you're done. 1:15:22. A, B, C, D, E, fuck you and your mom and your sister and your job and your broke ass car and the shit you called art. Fuck you and your friends I'll never see again. Everybody but your dog, you can all fuck off. A, B, C, D, E, F, U. They produced false witnesses who testified. This fellow never stops speaking against this holy place and against the law. So basically they're complaining that the light-working, truth-seeking truth teller never shuts up, and they can't get them to stop telling on criminals. Oh, so you're threatened. That's what it is. Got it. We've bullied them and we've tried to get them to shut up, and they just won't stop whistleblowing. We gotta slander them. We gotta slander them so we can bully them into the ground, or people won't listen, or both. We gotta slander them. Maybe we can try to lock them up. Yeah, they tried. If not with jail, then mental hospitals and all kinds of different things, depending on the case and the light worker. But 10:22 here on the clock on the East Coast. Like I said, well, though we've got modern day psychology to outline their narcissism, these toxic tactics, bitch, this is biblical. You're not new. You're not special, karmics. You're not creative. You're basic bumbling bitches. Old school. Old Testament. And that's all I've got to say about that. I hear something about throwing the first stone, right? These people, was that they were trying to persecute somebody. A woman. And he asked the crowd, everybody was ready to throw stones at her, stone her to death. Literally throw rocks at her. And he said, okay, so whichever one of you is without sin, meaning whichever one of you have never sinned in your whole life, you can throw the first stone. Guess how many of them were able to raise their fists? Not a one. Mind your business. And here's the thing. If they did want to compare sins, yeah, these karmics with those that they're targeting, let me tell you what, theirs would still be much worse. And we're not going to play that game regardless. But if we did, they'd already have lost in advance. I wish I hadn't done that. Yeah, we all wish you'd done something different. I could say some things, but I won't. You're welcome. discipline. Anything else? Let's see. Coaching. You should have listened to the teacher. Tried to warn you. Being called to explore the past, present, and future by tuning into frequencies of the universe. Yeah, I told you also about that. Past life energies and these karmics repeating the same toxic cycles, not clearing them, and not having the abilities that they claim to have in order to understand or know any of this. That they're repeating a toxic cycle and that it didn't work out for them in the last one either. Spiritual house cleanser. Yep. So that's what I was working on before I came here. Spiritual adornment. Okay. This is like the use of crystals. Peacemaker. Creativity. Pendulum. See, it's only a matter of time for these people who dread to target peaceful people get caught up for stealing from people and trying to harm people, copy people who were protected. Another thing that came out 2 weeks ago maybe was something about, let's see, it's in here. Spiritual house cleansers, one of them, but that wasn't it. It was something about design, interior design or something like that. Something to do with design. And I ended up in a space where somebody was asked to pick a number of things. Let me just break it down. Simply put, there's a house being built and the people building the house were overwhelmed by different options and what have you, and the people who were trying to help them in the store were giving them options, but basically they were just confused, and so it was overwhelming them, and it was too much. They didn't know what they were doing. They didn't understand the design concept, and so they didn't know which option to pick. On the flip side, understood all of it. So not only was I able to communicate with the store clerks with ease, but I was able to act as an intermediary between them, and answer questions from the store clerk that they needed to know, and then also translate. Mind you, everybody spoke English, but it was just like the information was a lot for the people hearing it. It was too much. They got overwhelmed and were shutting down. And so I explained it in a way that I knew this person could understand and gave them a couple of options just as an example and a breakdown, not even thinking anything of it. But last week, I was shown some of the updates on the house, and the colors and the certain things, certain options that I had picked out just as examples so that they could understand the concept of the topic are this. They're the same ones that they used in their house. I heard that interior design consultant, kind of. There it is, human design expert. So not just about the home, but also the spiritual. Here it is. It's actually this one, spiritual decor consultant. That was the one. And you know what is also funny, I've noticed? A lot of the people that were trying to convince me that they were right and bully me in one direction or another and demand this and demand that, those are the same ones that have been lost and confused right in the sauce, needing my help. and then also took my advice. Like, so which one of us was wrong? Not I. They're the same ones that took my design options for their house, too. I find quite ironic. Anyway. What do you want us to know, God? Feng Shui. Just keep things organized and as simple as possible. I'm actually about to get rid of the couch so that I can reorganize my workout station. Somebody says, why? I get much more out of it as a gym than I do a living room. I don't really need that right now. 125.33. You're being called to explore crystal healing. I told you. To work with the stones, talisman, manifestation coach. This is also about bringing things into fruition. Like, people are floored and in awe, and I know this, on how, like, for me, for example, I'll use myself, how I'm making progress despite everything that was done and everything that people have done to me. I hear creative genius. Oh, well, yeah. Like, they're claiming to be at their optimal, their peak, and their best, and they're having difficulties. Meanwhile, they know that people have put me in the worst of worst states, and I'm the one offering them help and advice when they're struggling. Yeah, I guess they weren't as at the top of their game as they thought then. Fortune, exactly. Fate. And I'm doing much better than these karmics tried to give me credit for. Why? Is that relevant? Because I tried to force fate. It didn't work, did it? Come here, babies. Separation, love. They tried to create blockages between the lovers. They tried to keep the twins from coming together, and also just from the light workers being able to see themselves individually as individuals. And that's the truth. They tried to block the truth. They tried to block communication. And these karmics who are dealing with breakups and separations for themselves right now, well, how does that feel? That's karma, isn't it? Kisses. Until debt tears us apart. Yeah, see? They wanted to pretend like they were in these happy, stable relationships while actually tearing apart happy relationships or trying to block them from coming together. And now that Saturn, karmic return energy, has come back around, they're upset that they're falling apart. Their relationships are falling apart. That's what they tried to do to others. Passion, lust, anger. Mars, yeah, see, very hostile energy. And in some cases, they were aggressively coming after people. Or they got into very toxic, passionate relationships, and they're fizzling out, or they fizzled out. Spirit guides, abundance. Feminine energy, exactly. And I told you that. Abundance Reiki came out earlier, so there's a level of elevation happening here for the light workers, especially those who were targeted by those who lack self-value, who try to knock others down, especially those who try to target the divine feminine. Whether it be male or female, whether it be just target her to hurt her or the whole copycat thing, it doesn't really matter. Either way, it's a problem. Has been a problem. Will continue to be a problem as long as it occurs, and that's why it's being stopped. I'm being called right now to drop the mic. Please remember to pray. Do no harm. Take no crap. And I will catch you on the next one. Blessings and namaste.